Hey everybody, welcome back to Tiny Bunny. In the Blues 32, and last we left off, we've heard a tale of a missing boy named Vova. Police came by and showed us his picture. Now Tony here, our main character, has the idea of wanting to go out and search for this kid so he can get a reward. And maybe make his parents stop wanting a divorce. Oh, I said the word! Anyway. Could try and just sneak out, but I don't think that's a good idea. After all, one will want to be prepared, will we not? Amerkhan of Russia has declared the state of emergency due to the adverse weather conditions. According to the weather forecast, a cyclone is moving towards the region. Expect heavy snowfall, blizzards, and snowdrifts on the road. Keep your eyes open and take care of yourself. The decrepit and stain-covered calendar was once my favorite form of entertainment in my grandma's house. I remember waking up and running to the kitchen so I could tear off yesterday's leaf first thing in the morning, as if the coming day would get lost in the taiga forest without my help. One day closer to New Year's, one day closer to Grandma's funeral. I haven't touched this calendar for years now. Since the time they started writing dark and spooky death chants that only made me gloomy instead of funny proverbs and superstitions, to be exact. I grabbed a dusty leaf with caution and tore it off effortlessly. Sadly, the spooky descriptions from my childhood were still there. 7 horses carry the log. If 7 can't carry, bring the 8th from a ferry. They will take it away and never come back. This is the fate of the log. This is the fate the log can't escape. I crumpled the gray leaf and threw it into the waste bin, hoping it would get rid of the anxiousness that washed over me. It was spreading inside me like an ink stain on blotting paper. I won't ever touch it again. The side of an old ocean freezer was checkered with my childish drawings, Mom's recipes, and all kinds of stickers from bubblegum with dinosaurs that Olya liked so much. Among that still life picture hung a piece of ruled paper with the phone number of the police officer who visited us. First Lieutenant Tikhonov, I read inside my mind, looking at the officer's sprawling handwriting. The scrap of paper was held up between 2 pieces of a broken magnet from some old Soviet toy, and those pieces were just barely covered the numbers as if to taunt me. I leaned forward to unveil the mystery and take it to the secret place where it would wait for its time, and I would finally find Vova and be the first to call the police with the happy news. Anton? Mom's reproachful eyes stared at me. What do you need it for? Hands off, you'll lose it. Angering my mom was the last thing I wanted, so I lowered my hand. I took a peek at Mom's crossword. She'll get very angry when someone gave her advice, so me and Dad faked knowing the answer and being about to reveal it all the time. I smiled at that fleeting thought. Vertical, 9 letters. The name of the Philistine deity that protected them from viper bites and had a nickname Lord of the Flies. Second letter is E. Beelzebub. It's Beelzebub. I know it. It was difficult to lie to Mom, but there was no other way for me to run from home. Mom, something's wrong with the TV. Pictures dim and there are stripes all over the screen. Mom's face became visibly distorted. Oh, you're killing me here. Have you had enough of those stupid ducks now? I told you the scope will go dim because of your console. Well, like we find a TV technician in this hole, huh? Maybe it's just the settings? Please, go see for yourself. Strange, it worked just fine this morning. Maybe the snowfall caused it? Mom rubbed her clean hands on her apron and went to Ola's room. God damn it. This is a terrible idea. I kept ice cream for me and Olya there, but now I can only see meat bits for soup and clumped together. Plaminating. I grew to hate them already. This is a dumb idea, kid. I opened the front gate and went to the field. careful so Mom couldn't see me from the window. When I half crossed the distance toward the forest, the snow piles became as high as my knees. I remembered my nightly fears. The silhouettes I saw were around here, jumping around, holding hands. The enticing music started playing in my head all on its own. In the light of day, those distant figures felt like a simple dream. The sun turned my nightmares to ash, but the aftertaste was still there. Distant, ringing in my ears, distorted shadows crawling on the snow alongside me, and a barely audible whisper in my head, blurry and almost kind. Everything was silent. So silent I felt like the world was totally empty. No ground, no sky, no parents, no Oya. Time reached its limit. One-way trip that ended at the forest arcade. Sometimes silence was more scary than any scream. Our parents would scream at each other while arguing. Both me and Oya turned to stone listening to them. Then always came the ringing silence. Our apartment became numb a couple of days before we were departed. It's hard to remember the last time Mom and Dad joked around, laughing, or spent time together. Almost like all of it was in a previous life. When they kissed with Oya present, she was always frowned and snorted in a funny way. One day it all changed. Something important had left our home. Something scary filled the remaining void. It was as if a fire broke up, and our parents were hurriedly packing our belongings, trying to save themselves and us. From who, though? From the people with dead, cold eyes who sometimes visit us in our previous home? The eyes that only saw balls of worms on the background and everything? And somewhere far away, a siren was going off, trying to warn us of the coming menace. I shuddered, chasing away my delusions, and looked around. There were only me, this white field, and the wind that was whipping up icy dust and belts of powdered snow. I squinted from the sun and turned my eyes to the sunless forest. It looked especially dark in contrast with the blinding whiteness. Knobby tree roots slithered under the snow like fat snakes. Rotten leaves and carnivorous needles froze into the ice. Dry, prickly branches intertwined, bringing up uncomfortable thoughts about fences. Are they protecting the forest? Or are they keeping something from breaking out? Some object was hanging from one of the pointy branches. I tried to get closer, drowning in snow, and when I almost got to the edge of the forest, I saw a knitted mitten. It looked like a wounded bird among the hungering semi-dark. Should I take it to the police? Senior officer looked gloomy, but he reminded me of a cat being Casanova from my favorite TV show called The Street of Broken Lights. He was always anxious with a tired look in his eyes, but still brave and strong. Will this mitten help them find the lost boy? Over! A distant shout. It sounded like it came from the river. As if the trees were calling out to someone. Over! It sounded closer to me. Someone standing there behind the trees, hiding. Over. I knew someone was looking for the lost boy, but still, there was something unsettling about that figure. Its stillness, how it was bent unnaturally towards the ground. Where? Where? Blackness. There was no one, just branches and roots. It was all just my imagination. A nearby bird flapped its wings loudly. Shadows split from the trees and disappeared from my sight. It lit away for just a moment, but when I turned my gaze back at the same place, it was gone. So it was my imagination after all. Silence reigned for a painfully long time. You know what? What happened to this kid sounds very tragic, but I think we should go home. My muscles were tightly sprung, my heart was beating somewhere in my throat. Any noise, any little movement, any small whisper from the thicket, and I'd sprint. Nothing of the sort happened. I looked at the mitten once more. I decided to take the lonely mitten from the branch. That might have been a bad idea. Bova! A shout rumbled across the field and dissolved into the distance. No echo, no hope for a reply. I stepped briskly towards the trees and tried to claim my find. It didn't budge. I pulled harder. The branch cracked and the mitten tore off, landing on my hand with a squishing sound. All too heavy. Wet. I squeezed it without thinking and saw something dark spill from it, forming a tiny string between the mitten and the snow. Steam rose from the snow pile. Oh, shit! I froze in place, studying my palms in disgust. Red. The sound of cracking branches invaded the silence. I didn't have to think twice before running away. Someone was chasing me from the darkness, breaking pine branches, closing the distance with giant leaps. Snow was slowing me down. Crazy thoughts flew through my mind. I'll get caught. They'll get me. I'll get dragged into the thicket. I'll be gone forever. There was one more voice, probably one of reason. It gave me strength, spurred me on. You can do it. Don't stop. I heard an animal roar behind me. So loud, my ears went numb. It felt like the sound had come from a pack of hungry beasts rather than a single one. Their nostrils sucked in a freezing cold air. They sensed my fear. Two giant wings flapped above my head. An enormous shadow flew over the clearing. A hoot, a wheeze. The roars were coming from all directions now. From the dried-up raspberry bush, from twisted pines, from under the waterfall. Hurry, run, don't look back! I felt like I was inside a nightmare. The snow clearing before the viscous like quicksand. Snowy clearing become viscous like quicksand. I was stuck in place. I pulled my legs from the mushy trap just to be caught in a new one, even deeper than before. I continued to drown, sinking deeper and deeper with every desperate push. Was snow ever this sticky? I screamed in horror after realizing this wasn't snow. Someone or something in the snow pile was clutching my pants. I gathered my strength and pushed forward. Pressure on my leg was gone. My boots slipped out of the hole and my sole landed on the hard surface again. I reached a clear path with one jump. From there, ran to my house. Its gloomy facade didn't look threatening now. The house was my line of defense from the shadows that flapped their wings and the creatures that were hiding under the snow. I tripped over the doorstep and smashed into the door. In my hurry, I still managed to notice the claw marks, as if a dog was striking the wood with its paws, demanding to be let in so it could escape the cold. I hadn't noticed these marks when I was leaving. The heartbeat in my ears was much louder than my surroundings. I couldn't hear whether someone was following me or not. What if they were already in our front yard and Mom had locked the door? Drowning in fear, I pulled in the doorknob and immediately gave way. I rolled into the hallway and shut the door behind me. Porch planks creaked as my pursuers ascended the stairs. My fingers slipped off the lock and I couldn't click it in place. I grit my teeth and pulled on the iron knob, whipping it between the boards. I stared blankly at the door. Someone was standing on the other side of the pitiful, flimsy barrier that was probably less useful than the blankets. Wheezing breath reached into the house, crashed at me in waves. It smelled of pine and sweat. Mom peeked out of the kitchen and chastised me with the same frigid voice she always used when talking to Dad. What exactly didn't you understand when I told you never to slam the door? I didn't mean to. I snuck a glance at the door. The smell was gone, and the breath too. If there was someone there in the first place, of course. Here, mere 5 meters away from my mom, my fear was slowly weakening, melting like snow in spring, and with it the last bit of strength I had in my body, too. My legs gave way and I propped myself against the wall so I wouldn't fall over. Mom's expression had changed immediately. The cold mass of strictness and detachment was gone. Mom looked the same as before all those quarrels. She saw my condition at last, my wet pants plastered with snow. Where have you been? What did I tell you, huh? I told you to stay home. Am I nothing to you, too? I got afraid she would cry. I reached out to her like when I was little and wanted to cuddle her. Mom regained her composure fast and put on her usual face. Her eyes shining like steel, her voice rang out. Dad can't find his cigarettes. Be honest, did you snatch them? Were you smoking in secret? There was someone chasing me. I thought... I stuttered as soon as I started explaining myself. Tears welled up in my eyes. Mom leaned forward and stiffened my clothes like a beast searching for the smell of tobacco. Then she squinted her eyes in suspicion and looked in the front yard. Her expression changed in an instant, and she covered her mouth with her hand. Look over there at the fence. My heart started thumping as if I became prey once again, and my pursuers were following me in the field. I could swear that I've heard something scratching at the door just like in my nightmare. Mom beckoned me with her finger, and I gathered all my range ready to look into the kitchen window facing my fear. There's nothing there. Oh, wow. I could barely discern some hairy silhouettes swimming in snow through the icy winter patterns on the glass. Dogs. Just a small pack of strays with no name and owner, and barely reminding of the hungry animals that live on the edge of the forest. Oh boy, were you scared of them? I think they were scared of you, Anton. Chasing me like a bunny. What if they were rabid? The smile had slowly disappeared from my mom's face. Now she looked at the dogs as if it was her first time seeing them. What if they attack Olya? Mom, your dad could shoot them all. Mom, look, they're alive. Huh? What? Are they friend of your foe after all? Make up your mind. You're not a little kid already. She sighed in annoyance, and I felt so bitter that I bit my lower lip and fixed my gaze on the cobweb-ridden corner. Well, some detective I am. In reality, I wasn't risking my life among monsters, but rather my pants among a pack of stupid strays. And what for? What do I use for this mitten? Of course. A dark and sticky mitten that belonged to the lost boy made squishy sounds in my hand. It seemed like I was clutching it the whole time. That's my trump card as a detective. I hurried presented this clue to my mom. Mom, this is Volva's mitten. The boy was mitten this morning. It's drenched in blood. I found it hanging in the snow in the tree. I can show you where. Let's call the police, like the officer told us to. Mom, look. Ew. A shadow of doubt crept onto my mom's contorted face, as if she were trying to remember something distant, like someone tries to remember their dream, but the image has slipped away. Stop at this moment. Well, you'll go insane if she hears you. She already has enough trouble sleeping and whines all the time, and you joke around like this. This moment was actually wet from snow. There was no blood whatsoever. I went to sink through the floor from embarrassment. Come here, the boy who cried wolf. Oh, don't you stand there. Come here, take your pills. Golden-colored pill, reminiscent of a dead wasp, fell into my palm. I already took one during breakfast. Don't talk over me. I told you to stay at home, and you? Dad would have given you a good whipping for that. Come on, take it, or you won't be able to sleep tonight, and you have school tomorrow. So I had to swallow the bitter medication, drinking it down with a similarly awful-tasting water that gave off a taste of chlorine. It wasn't full. It wasn't a mitten at all. It's like the forest monsters and only his owl. Am I going mad? It's happening to me. Either the pill had an immediate effect, or my overexerted brain didn't let fear inside anymore. Serenity washed over me, bringing yawning indifference along with it. Son, you done? See, you can do it when you try. Do what? Take off your coat. Are you asleep? No, Mom, I was just thinking. What about, I wonder? Just something silly. Mom scrutinized me with suspicious eyes, as if she wasn't sure what she was looking at her own son, not some doppelganger that came out of the forest. Is everything all right? You had the exact same expression when the policeman asked you about the window. I'm all right, Mom. She heaved a deep sigh. Fine. It seemed like the house had changed. The sofa's fabric had become discolored. Fingerprints appeared in the bathroom tiles. The light bulbs also felt different, dimmer and yellower. Even the saliva inside my mouth had a different taste. The melody from Aladdin could be heard from the upper floor. Ollie was then rewatching her favorite Little Mermaid episodes and switched to other tapes. I slowly changed into my home clothes, stopped from the sink, and stood in my reflection in the mirror, like I was trying to solve one of those spot the difference puzzles. Then went upstairs. Jafar's and Iago's voices died down. I walked past Olia's room and looked into my own. The forest didn't look as grim during the day. Entangled tree branches in the distance and the snowy field between our house and the forest brought sleepiness to my eyes. But sometimes I would still catch myself looking at in the window at the icy treetops instead of doing my homework. I dreamt of becoming an artist since my dad bought me my first comic book. Fly magazine was the coolest. I especially liked the big space-related edition with alien monsters and that funny episode about I don't know. I started drawing all kinds of stuff since that day, and I seem to be getting good at it. One of my letters even got published in Fly once. Maybe someday they'll even publish my comic? No. Let your dreams die, boy. Monsters, Ghosts, UFOs. The Encyclopedia of Paranormal Phenomena from Rossman Publishing. I learned about the Loch Ness Monster, Medusa Gorgon, and the Big Book from there. Leia was always scared of the book. She could barely handle sifting through the monster and alien sections with me, but the middle part where they started talking about ghosts really freaked her out. I remember hunting ghosts after I'd read that book. I measured this between items on my table every morning, checked if they moved due to some supernatural force come the morning. They didn't. But to be honest, what was I expecting? To meet Casper the Ghost? My Triceratops figurine. I know about all sorts of dinosaurs, velociraptors, Epherovators, I don't even know. I remember going to the movies to see Jurassic Park back when we still lived in the city and taking pictures with the T-Rex in the hall. It turned its head and roared. It was awesome. Beside it was a Robotech Transformer. I love this cartoon. When a jet fighter speeds up in the intro among the sounds of blaster fire, you know your next 20 minutes will surely be amazing. Sent Ted to the space station is captured. Rick, get ready for battle. One of the drawers was empty. I hid the mitten there. Simple action drained the last bit of strength out of me. I sat on the bed. Only then I noticed there was someone behind the curtains. My tired hand dropped to the sheets. Whether it was due to medication I took or the stress I underwent, the room began to contort, as if the wind was blowing the walls out like a pair of sails. The room's corners bent and undulated. The only stable thing in the room was the figure between the windowsill and the curtains. A flimsy piece of cloth was stuck to my hidden visitor, just like a servant of sorts. Olia? Who else would be standing there? I stood up and licked my dried lips. Olia, it's so funny. Yes, Olia, it's so funny. Celia was unmoving. It was enveloped slowly by the curtain, as if there was a thick layer of darkness there, and not a human being. I reached towards the curtain. Ba-dum, ba-dum, beat my heart, controlled by medication. The wind sang in the field with a chorus of voices. For a second, I wanted to return to bed, just lie down and watch the person behind the curtain, knowing full well they were looking back at me. They were looking without blinking, waiting for me to fall asleep. Plastic rings rustled against the holster when I pulled open the curtain. Gotcha! I knew it was you from the beginning. A blinding, brightling halo lit up above Olia's head with the setting sun as the background. My sister was shining. When she was a baby, Dad always used to say she was shining with happiness. I was retorted, but Dad, she's not some flashlight. But I brought her to the window one day and sunlight poured on her smiling face. I felt like I was holding a child woven from light. I saw everything. Oh, really? What did you hide? She was just like my mom when she was little, before she put on her sad mask of tiredness and switched to a commanding tone of voice. Nothing, just... I ran up to the table, her eyes rolled round, and asked, You stole something and hid it there? Are you a thief? What? Don't be stupid. I didn't steal anything. A clear image came to mind, the mitten hanging from a tree branch. What if I did steal it after all? From the forest, from the tilted figure standing behind the black trees. Leia could be selfish and stubborn when she wanted. And show me. Said I won't tell anyone, then I'll show you. Leia wore a plotting smile. Swear on Mom's heart. Now she heard in one of the movies about the pioneers we watched. Don't say things like that. Leia nodded and made a gesture with her hand, locking her mouth with an imaginary key. It was filled with curiosity that was splashing in her giant eyes. I opened the drawer and Olia leaned in, holding her breath. It looked like it was not just a simple mitten, but some sort of exotic critter. Is this someone's mitten? She said it as if she couldn't understand what she saw. A certain boy lost it. Got lost himself. Now do you understand how dangerous it is for kids to wander in the forest, right? It must be really cold out there. Will they find him? They will. He's going house to house, showing his photo to everybody. Olia traversed the room with care and pressed her tiny palms against the window. Why are they going to houses and not the forest? Are they scared? The question caught me off guard. The police isn't scared of anything. The police isn't scared of anything. Yeah, right, flashed in my clouded mind. They really check every nook and cranny where darkness, cold, and whispers of icy branches dwell? If that's the case, how'd they miss the mitten? It appeared later for me. I changed the topic. I'm trying to get Oya as far away as possible from the forest thicket. Make it a reward if I go and find this boy by myself. A lot of stuff like in Field of Wonders. Sounds cool, right? Oya wasn't listening to me. She was piercing the forest with incredibly adult eyes, uncharacteristic for her. What if the elk got him? Nonsense, an owl wouldn't be able to lift a human. But you know what? I was picking my words with the utmost care. I forced them out of my overexerted brain. Stay away from the forest. I think it... How should I put it? It's cursed or something. Like in a fairy tale? No, not like that. More like that spooky tape Mom and Dad are hiding from us. I shivered and stole a glance in the window. I saw you running away. Was someone chasing you? No, it's just... I was hurrying back so Mom wouldn't be worried. As I looked at my sister, my heart was tearing apart. She was so fragile. It was so easy to stifle her light. A gust of wind and her small fire would be gone. You're lucky. Mom won't even let me go outside. The princess in the tower can't go anywhere. I'll die from boredom here. You're wrong. No one's ever died of boredom. You have me in your cartoons, and Mom and Dad will be good to each other soon. You know what I would wish for on my next birthday? I wish for Mom and Dad to turn into children so we could go and play together like we used to. And if you make them as small as bugs, we can place them in a little box. Leia giggled and tugged at my sleeve. Let's go watch Aladdin. Fatigue won over my desire to be with my little sister. I was washed over by some sort of heinous apathy. I'm too tired. I don't want to. Come on. It's so boring alone. Mom's always busy. You can pick a cartoon you haven't seen before. You know all our tapes by heart at this point. Not all of them. You haven't watched Peter Pan. Remember how you fell asleep in the middle of it? So what happens after that? Let's go. Maybe a bit later. Shall I tell you how it ends? Let's leave that for tomorrow. I won't tell you tomorrow. I know, let's play hide and seek. No, Oya. Draw me a dino. Please. Draw it. You leave me alone already? I blurted it out without thinking. Then I was immediately taken aback. I never screamed at my little sister like that. Oya stared at me in shock. Lips started to tremble, a precursor to tears. I just was seething with disgust and embarrassment. What's happening to me? I hurried to prevent Oya from crying. All right, you win. Let's go watch cartoons for a bit. I don't wanna. Anna put my hand on her soft head. Let's go. Let's go watch Peter Pan. Ooh, you'll fall asleep again. Smiled and lifted her chin. Her eyes were wet and felt bottomless. Promise I won't. And I'll draw you a full Triceratops later. Hooray! Triceratops. Close enough. Oya rubbed her eyes with the sleeve of her pajamas, and a shining smile returned to her face. I'll go ask Mom for condensed milk and bread, and you rewind a tape. Bread is fresh, just how you like it. Alright, just be careful not to spill the milk, or you'll be yelled at again. Want to bet I won't spill it? Tape's somewhere in the nightstand, look for it. Oya disappeared in the doorway, and I dragged my feet into the neighboring room. Scary window where Oya sees that accursed owl every night lurking in the dark. Oya keeps curtains open during the day, but as soon as the twilight comes, she shuts them tight, so she won't see the pair of hungry eyes outside. What was that? Oya's countless toys. An old teddy bear is the main attraction here. Oya doesn't sleep without it. She digs her nose into its fur when she sleeps. Yeah. The old Photon TV was gathering dust in the corner. All that was left was clicking the button on the front panel. The tube warmed up and familiar white noise started dancing on the black screen. I almost reached out to turn on the VCR when the noise calmed down and a blurry image appeared for a moment. It was a dark taiga forest just like the one outside my window. The picture split the screen in half. Something creepy, resembling human speech, was coming out of the speaker. Just a few moments later, the scenery was overshadowed by noise. Did they catch some rogue signal? Local TV stations only really showed Soviet cartoons, and even that was pretty rare. And only just recently I used to always watch Robotech before school. So awesome. You ever think with the antenna, what if I changed this channel again? On the other hand, he asked me to find a tape. It would be nice to disappoint her. In my sleepy state, I didn't have the strength to do all of it. sifted through the shelf full of dolls and blue hippos from Kinder Surprise. Found the tape I needed thanks to the shabby spine. I got the black rectangle from its box. Tape inside it rustled while rewinding to the beginning. This rustle was lulling me to sleep. Drowsiness attacked me while I was squatting before the TV. We just rolled in my head, me and Olya flying above the forest, tumbling in the soft clouds. My little sister laughing, but her smile becoming more and more forced with every passing second. I noticed that the clouds underneath us part, bearing the bristly pine tops. Swampy darkness slurped along the trees. The wings are no longer able to hold us, and Olya... "Have started without me, have you?" Sister brought in a tray with an unevenly cut bread and a whole can of condensed milk. I rubbed my eyes. "Nah, come sit. Mom and Dad were arguing again. We're going through rough times. Times are lame." Listening to the scream when he was hiding Peter Pan's shadow into the dresser, Olya was entertained by the cartoonish dog Nana. Maybe Mom and Dad will buy us a dog too? Yeah, right. My own dog in Neverland, and a cat and a parrot. I smeared a slice of bread with a thick layer of condensed milk and handed it to me. "Have you lost all your baby teeth?" "Obviously." I frowned deep in thought. Peter Pan has baby teeth. What if they won't let you go into his land with adult teeth? We'll think of something. We'll ask Dad to alter your age in the passport. Why would Dad forge documents? Olya took a bite from the sandwich and started talking with her mouth full. Mom, grow ears as big as Dumbo's. I got worried and touched her ears. I smiled to myself. Little sister was silent now. She devoured bread, watching the adventures of Peter Pan, Tinkerbell, and James Hook. As if she got sucked into the fairy tale Neverland. To be honest, I also imagined myself there, a land where one never ages, where no one argues over little things, where no one listens to fights and the sounds of broken plates at night. I felt like I was dreaming with my eyes still open. And my sister's scream pulled me back to reality. "Tony, shut the curtain fast." "Why?" "No one's watching you. It's dark, and when it's dark, the owl comes. I'm scared." I got out of bed, fighting my drowsiness, and closed the curtain. I did my best not to look outside towards the treetops, towards the taiga forest, which seemingly drew closer and closer. Of course, it was just a visual effect from the shadows of branches scraping the snow. Tony, Mom thinks I made the owl up. Dad, too. He thinks I'm a liar since I'm small. The owl exists. Honestly, it does. You do believe me, right? That it comes every night and... I swiftly grabbed Olya's hands and looked into her eyes, trying to transfer at least some of my courage and determination. Did I really have those qualities? Yes, I believe you, alright? Just don't nag your parents about it anymore. You're already doing it a lot, so they'll just get mad at you. Come and tell me if anything happens. And don't look out the window. But it wants me to look. Doesn't matter. Act like it doesn't exist and never existed, like it's made up and just like Mom and Dad say. I'll get tired of waiting and fly away. It was madness, but after everything that happened recently, I was more and more inclined to believe the Olya's owl existed. We followed Peter Pan's adventures as if nothing happened, as if the forest didn't kidnap kids, as if our parents weren't tearing each other apart bit by bit. Captain Hook was running away from a crocodile, and Peter Pan was headed to London on a gilded sailboat. Some miracle, I lasted longer than my little sister. Olya's eyelids had dropped. She started snoring lightly, resting her chest on the side of the bed. I stood up and left Olya's room. I looked out the window, studying the field, and Mom peeked into my room. Enough playing around. It's your first day of school tomorrow. Go to bed. You should sleep properly. You want to be teased for being sleepy, right? Yes, that's the word. Adults think everything's so simple. As if sound sleep will ensure my classmates would like me. I covered myself with a blanket up to my neck and listened to the house humming, to something invisible rustling in the corners. An inner voice had a question for me. Do I want to hear that mysterious flute again? Yes or no? Maybe it's just part of growing up and I can't fully understand my own desires. force wailed behind the barrier that were my walls. Some ethereal entity wandered the fields. Branches shook as if calling for me. The wind howled on in the night. My thoughts were like annoying flies that entered my head before becoming weak and tangled. I didn't notice how I fell into slumber. And that was all of Tiny Bunny that's out now. I do want to know what happens next. I am curious. If you are, please support them. I can't. I have no money. Anyway, I am the Blues32. It's been Chapter 1 of Tiny Bunny. ETFN. Ta-ta for now.